Hi, David Odell with Odell Complete Concrete. This is the final part to the pit series. Here's what we're going to be doing. Quick glimpse on the project. So what we have is 15 feet out from that sidewalk, and it's going to be 35 feet long, surrounding the 7-foot pit. 7-foot deep pit, 7-foot wide. If you had seen some of the earlier parts to this series, you would have seen that 7-foot pit, the form and build of it. Now what we're going to do is put this building slab in around it. This is going to be enclosed for sandblasting, and all the sand will recover in that pit. Now we're just getting the right amount of moisture into the soil before we compact, using a plate compactor for this operation. On the pit walls, we're doweling in every 16 inches, and we're going to drill and drive rebar. We're going to bend them over into the slab. That way, if there's any movement on the slab, it'll move around and not separate too much from the pit. We're doing 6-inch deep concrete, 3,000 psi pea gravel with fiber mesh. Also, we're doweling into that sidewalk as well, because I don't want the slab to move from that sidewalk at all. So what's going to eventually happen here when they get the building up over this for the sandblasting area, it's going to get a laminate over the entire slab, probably like a, I'm not sure what type of laminate, but something that the sandblasting isn't going to hurt. So it's probably going to be, could be like a rubber, potentially rubber mat on the bottom. That way when you're sandblasting, it's not going to do any damage to the concrete. This little area is a 6x8 out here, and this is your trash enclosure. This is just the base for it. This is what Salo did, the metal shop worker. He did this after I left. Drove these dowels in about 3 feet, and he welded a bunch of tubes to it, like they're like 1 inch by 1 inch square tubes. His idea behind it is that the slab won't move that way, and I don't think it will. Here we are pouring. This is pour time. We got a nice, about a 5-inch slump here. I ran those panel inside walls up a little high, just so that we could do this without having to reform the inside for the slab. I just ran them high. They're not exact. They're probably an inch or two above the actual level that we're pouring to right now. But it's better to be high than low, otherwise you got to build up off of them for the slab pour. In this case, I was high enough to where I didn't have to mess with it. Once I get the slab completed and let this cure out a day or two, I can pull the entire inside wall of that 7-foot deep pit. Also, if you're interested, we did a live version of this, completely live through this entire pour. And that's already up on YouTube, so if you want to see how that turned out, you can check that out. I mean, the live part of it, it allows you to comment live while we're doing stuff, and we can do whatever you think we need to do. Like if you have any suggestions, we can get on it during the live sections. And that's what we did on this live session, so you can check it out. We're going to be doing live again here pretty soon, because we got some good feedback on that, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you noticed, but we got Jade back on the job site. Took me a lot of negotiating, but I was able to make it happen. Here's a funny float going on. You can see the kind of hole that we were trying to fill in right there. Got a lot of cement We will be running a power trowel on this one. I'm going to be using the 2-foot power trowel from Milwaukee. It's a battery powered on their MX Fuel platform. It also has a float pan on it. So we'll be running the float pan to start with. We're going to pull that off and just go blades only all the way to the broom.
It's right there.
All right.
Right in the spot.
Now pop it all the way up so you go over top of that. And now stop, let it all the way flat, and push that back in there.
Yeah.
Now then come back again.
So we have my super fan out here, Joey, and he's learning how to run that bull float. It's not a very complex, tool to use. It's just a matter of tilting it going forward and tilting it the other direction going backwards. I think more than anything, the trick to a bull float is being able to move the mud where you want and being able to feel the low points or high points and then manipulating the mud where you want it to go. That's where the experience comes in. It might need a little. Yeah. Trying the old salt and pepper shaker.
Shake and bake, baby.
See, we could see a hole there from the bull float running over it. And sometimes the only way you're going to get rid of those low points is by adding more mud.
You're gonna saw cut this, right?
So we went multiple directions with this bull float on this one to get it as flat as possible. This whole pad is, all the lumber is set level. It's a level pad for the building structure. Here's Doug on his 20x4 Marshalltown trowel. And you know what happened at the end of this job? We got a massive rainstorm. The concrete was cured out enough to not get any damage from the rain, but from that roof, from the massive building, it all ran off into this backyard and it all went into this pit. And we ended up with like 4 feet of water in there in short order. And it's mostly from runoff. It's not just raindrops falling, because that was probably like maybe 2 inches max. But all the drainage from the roof went right into that hole. And you'll get to see it, how we got the water out, and pretty quickly and easily. There's a big blue Fresno going on. We're not putting any joints in this on the day of. I'm going to come back and do an early entry concrete saw and cut all the joints. That way they won't have a big gaping gap to bridge with the laminate over the surface. Like with the joint, you're going to have a big gap. So in this case with saw cuts, you'll be able to bridge it pretty easily with any kind of material you put over the top of this. I got Kenny on the power trowel. He had never ran a 2-foot machine in gas or battery, so he was really wanting to use this tool. So he got a chance right now just to see how it compared to a gas-powered power trowel, even though this is a 2-footer, which is kind of different. And then it has the rotating cage, so you could slam it up against a wall and it's not going to matter. You can get within about 1/4 inch of any vertical surface with this power trowel, which means there's no more kneeboarding along the walls.
Because I got this hole right here. You can see that hole. Yeah. I just take a little bit of mud there, put it in that hole, hit the button.
That's how you fix a hole. And in order to fix a hole, you either gotta, if you're running a gas-powered power trowel, you got to turn your throttle way down and hope that it stops rotating. A lot of times they're not tuned perfect or the throttle cable's not perfect and it still tries to rotate even though your throttle's down. So you end up having to turn the machine off so you can let go of the machine so you can fix those holes. But with this, with the battery powered, you just press a button and it's guaranteed not to be rotating anymore. Also, there's a safety feature on it, similar to a centrifugal clutch on a gas-powered machine, but better. So if you were to let go of that handle, because it's a smart machine, it knows that no one's holding the handle, and it automatically stops the rotation of the handle. So there's no way you're going to get hit with the handle, which is really nice, because I've been hit by them before. And it's not fun because they come around, they hit you right in the side, you know, and it's painful. Yeah, centrifugal clutch, they work, and they'll they'll slow down, but they'll still have enough swing to hit you. But this one, will guaranteed stop before it comes around to hit you. Got a nice new 1/2-inch trowel here, $14 at Concrete Accessories. Here's my final pass out here on the trash pad. Joey's on the broom, and we're just brooming right behind the machine. You know, I've only used one battery, and we've made multiple passes. First, we did some passes with the float pan. Then we did a couple more passes with the blades, and the one battery is all it took. So the super fan Joey's out here practicing the broom, and it's not much different than pushing any kind of broom. You know, you just want it to look nice and consistent and even. Here's the day after the pour. Now it's strip time and saw cut. So right now, Doug's down in the hole, so I'm running a solo operation on my chalk lines. I'm gonna cut the top. As he throws the lumber out, I'll start loading it. I'll probably catch up to him pretty quickly before he makes a big dent in all that lumber removal. But we ended up cutting this on about 7.5 foot squares because we had a 15-foot pad. So all this lumber that comes out, and the nice thing about when we ran those 2x4s high out of the pit, we can reuse them, you know, because they're going to still be 8 foot long. So when we're snapping the snap ties on the inside of the pit, we started with a 1/2-inch pipe, about 18 inches to snap them. Then we went to an impact drill with a 1/2-inch socket. And then we went to a pipe wrench, and we determined that the best way to snap a snap tie is with a long pipe. Easiest way to remove them.
There you go.
So when we set the forms, which you can see in the earlier parts to this series, we set them in 2 halves on the inside. The outside were full, inside was in 2 parts. Just for this reason, easy removal. And because we use the same panels that we poured the wall with to hold the slab, the top 6-inch lift, we have a perfectly flush mirroring of the 2 pours. But here's what she looks like, a quick glimpse of it. You can't really even see the seam of the 2 pours. Married together very nicely. But yeah, you could go swimming in there after this rainfall. You'll get to see that coming up here pretty shortly. There's a look at your trash enclosure pad. You know, when you have trash setting out, even though it has a lid, you get a lot of wild animals and things trying to get into it. But if you can enclose it, then you solve that problem. And that's what we're going to do here. We have 3 feet of water in here. We've already dropped it about a foot. You can tell by the water line. Had a massive rainstorm out here. And this is what we're going to be using to get the water out. This Milwaukee backpack submersible pumps, 1 horsepower. And I rigged up 1.5 hard pipe PVC. You can use a hose, 1.5 or actually it's a 2-inch male fitting down there. 2-inch male fitting. What I did, because I had some pipe, I just threw a union on, rigged it up. But you can do a vertical throw or a horizontal right at the base of the pump, either way you want to go. In this case, we're coming out vertical. Now check it out. Check this little unit, my remote control. I'm going to fire this up. Watch how this baby throws the water out. We're moving a lot of water and we're moving it quick. So we've been running it about 5 minutes. So far we've dropped it a foot, 7 by 7. We got about 1.5 foot to go here. Yeah. He's got to hold that pipe. There's so much thrust because of that 90. It's pushing back. So we had to hold it. You could get a hose, a 2-inch hose, throw it up and out. Then you wouldn't have to sit there and hold it back. Or we could have tie wired it or roped it right to that angle iron and held it there too. But this is more fun. Look at the cone over that storm. One of the cones blew into the hole and it's still underwater. But there it is. Easy way to get water out. Anyway, thank you for watching, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you will be notified as soon as our next video pops. I think you're going to like it just as much as this one. Have a good one. Bye.
Odell, complete concrete. Odell, complete concrete.